leaky basement.
Yes, there's like pipes in the background. Okay, we're live streaming now as I wait for Mr. Thompson. Hi, Mr. Thompson.
Hi, yes.
How are you today?
I'm all right.
Good. This is People of the State of Michigan versus Dwayne Thompson, docket number 18-1001FH. And Mr. Thompson, you're here because a bench warrant was issued. It was issued back June 19th of last year, based on an allegation that you had not been in contact with or done any reporting with your adult probation agent. And do you understand the allegation against you?
Yes, I do.
If it's proven true, it could subject you to a maximum penalty of up to 4 years in prison on each of your 2 prior convictions. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Austin, who's here with us today. And you also have the right to a contested hearing where you could appear by yourself or through an attorney. You could hear the evidence presented against you. You could cross-examine witnesses, and you could present your own evidence. And Mr. Austin, can you tell me how we're proceeding on this?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding from speaking with Mr. Thompson that he will be admitting to the violation.
Is that right, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, as I said, you have the right to a contested hearing. If you plead guilty, you won't have a contested hearing, and you'll give up the rights that go along with it. That includes the right to be represented by an attorney at the hearing, the right to have the allegations proven, the right to have the witnesses against you appear at the hearing and to be able to cross-examine them, the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the hearing, and also the right to testify yourself at the hearing if you wanted to. Do you understand those rights?
Yes.
Has anyone made any promises to get you to plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
Anyone used any threats or other kinds of pressure?
No, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty because you believe that you are in violation of the terms and conditions of probation?
Yes.
All right, tell me how you violated probation.
By not keeping in contact with my probation officer.
Okay, so you haven't reported for like a year, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The court finds the plea is understandingly, voluntarily, and knowingly made. It is supported by the testimony. The plea of guilty is accepted, and Mr. Thompson is found guilty of probation violation. Agent McQuillan, if you want to unmute yourself, you can make a recommendation.
Thank you, Judge. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Thompson was sentenced to an 18-month term of probation on May 8th of 2019. His probation term expired November 8th of 2020. From the time he was sentenced up to the time that our office was closed for the pandemic, he'd been doing a reasonably good job. All of his court assessment, all of his substance abuse tests were negative, which is why I did not refer him for any substance abuse treatment. He has paid $753 of the $946 he was ordered to pay in court assessments. He had obtained employment at a Paramount Coffee facility in downtown Lansing, and communication with his family indicates that I believe he's still employed there, and he's done a reasonably good job. I'd recommend for those reasons, I wouldn't see the benefit of continuing this term of probation, and that I'd recommend he be discharged successfully from this term of probation. Thank you, Judge. And he be sentenced to 11 days in jail with credit for 11 days are already served. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Austin?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Thompson's kind of been missing in action here for about a year. It sounds like he was really overwhelmed with a lot of life circumstances. His girlfriend was shot, and he was helping take care of her as well as raising the children. And he just sounds like he really got overwhelmed. Positively speaking, what Mr. McQuillan said, he never had any positive drug tests. He has been employed at Paramount Coffee for the last 3 years or so. And they're still willing to hold his job for him, provided that he can make it there tomorrow. He does have strong family support. And it also appears in the last year he's not had any police contact or picked up any new charges. So that's positive as well. I am not opposed to the recommendation of Mr. McQuillan, and I would ask the court to consider adopting it. If the court is inclined to keep Mr. Thompson on probation, I would just ask that no further upfront incarceration be imposed upon him at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now your turn, Mr. Thompson. Was there anything you wanted to say?
No, I just wanted to go back and say that, I do take action and I reported. I just actually was like very, very overwhelmed and taking care of 5 and 7 kids by myself and still having to obtain work. And I just ask that please be released due to I don't want to lose my job over and not reporting.
Okay, well, I wish that it hadn't ended quite this way, Mr. Thompson, with you being, an absconder basically for a year. But prior to that, it sounds like you did very, very well. And I know the last year's been challenging for a lot of people. It sounds like you had even more challenges on top of it. So I'll discharge you. We'll call it a successful discharge. 11 days in jail with credit for 11 days served. The bench warrant is dismissed. And Mr. Thompson, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It will explain that more on a